that would suck to forget to record this whole thing. So, so I did my intro already and before I started recording, but I'm not going to go back. I'm Cherrise Boucher of CherriseBoucher.com, momentum strategy coach. I'm also a single mom of 2 teenagers. One of them's going off to college here in the fall. So we have lots going on in my world too. So, you know, strategy with time and schedule is part of my life. Do I do this process all the time? I'm not going to lie. No, I don't, because it's really, mostly people don't do what they teach, unfortunately. But I do know that it works because it works for my clients brilliantly and I hold them accountable to it. I'm great at doing that. And so anyway, like I said, if you just jumped in, I'm going to try to keep, hey Vanessa, I'm going to try to keep comments and questions to the end so that I can just knock this out for you. Hopefully you have a piece of paper handy so that you can take some notes, because I've got a whole bunch, because I'm like, I am quite the planner. Look, I have outlines just like I'm going to teach you today. So I do what I preach. So that's good. This is for anybody really who gets stuck in the zone of being overwhelmed. Like you've got brilliant ideas, you talk about them a lot, but they don't come to fruition because you kind of get stuck in the details and in
Grace, I can't hear you.
Oh, oops. Sorry. Thank you for telling me that. Because some people are muted and some people are not. Okay, I'm good. I was trying to mute everybody so there wasn't so much background noise. I wonder where I left off. Okay, so you're going to walk away with this workshop, from this workshop, with a system that is 100% effective. For everybody in any situation, you can tweak it for however works for you, which is fabulous. Everybody needs kind of one of those general systems that works for everything. And so take notes. Like I said, take notes. So I'm going to share my screen here somewhere. I know there was a thing to do that. And so that you can see little outlines of what I am doing. All right, can you all see my screen? I hope. Trying to bring up the, okay, good. Thank you, Viviana. All right, so these are 5 steps to get shit done and reach your biz goals every time. And they really are. So right at the beginning of this process, what I like to do is get ready for it. So it's not, I can't go to the next, oh, there we go. So when you, it's a whole brain dumping process is really what this is. So when you get started to prepare to dump your brain, it's wise to get anything done that you need to ahead of time. If you have laundry to do or things that are going to distract you, get them done or go to a place where those distractions aren't going to happen, because you want to set aside a good hour. When I work with my clients, we set aside about 90 minutes to do this to make sure we get everything. So by yourself, you should be able to do this in about an hour or less. Then figure out how you're going to record all your contents of your brain. If you want to use a journal, like a notebook, Google document, Word document. I use Google Documents with my clients because then we can share it and collaborate on it together, and it's accessible from wherever. You're not confined to having your notebook with you or having your computer with your document or emailing your document all over the place and then having different versions of it. So I'm going to suggest a Google document because it's great, because you can also put little notes on there to resolve, which is like checking, which is like a check mark, which is pretty satisfying actually to do. This keeps everything in one place, because if you, I tried to mute everybody, but then I muted myself. So if you guys could just mute yourself, that would be awesome. Because it's not zooming. I'd have to go back to the other screen. Okay, thank you. Where was I? Okay, it keeps everything in one place, and you can access it from anywhere. Did that. Okay, you're going to be creating this outline. Yes, this is like going back to elementary school kind of thing, where I never thought this would be useful, but apparently it is. I don't see, I'm trying to see if I can. Let's see who's on here. AT and whoever's maybe 386-273949. If you could mute your lines, because it looks like I would have to go out of screen share to do that. Unless somebody knows the tip, I don't know. Okay, so choose your format, then get ready. Make sure you have some hold on.
Cherrise, do you want to make me an admin and I can do it? You'd have to probably go out of the screen though, too.
I have to go out of the screen. Let's see. Let me go in there. Mute. Sorry, everybody. Mute. Ah, I did it. Yay. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Sorry about that. Let me go back to this screen share. Oh. I got this. You know, we always have, there's always got to be something technical in here. Okay. All right. I have no idea where I was. Oh, okay. If you do use a notebook or journal, because sometimes I really often do this, especially if I'm at my son's baseball practice or something like that. I grab my notebook and I just handwrite everything in there. But I encourage you, if you do that, to when you get back home or you get a chance to go ahead and put that in a document form where it's easily editable, because then you can go back in and add things, delete things, organize it better, and you'll see more about that as we go. Have water. You might want to set an intention for doing this. I'm kind of a fan of doing that. I actually have an earthing mat under me right now, so to keep me grounded and have water. You could set an intention for this hour of your time to be very productive and allow the flow to come out, so that you actually get everything down that you need to prioritize and list, so that you can get shit done. Now that we have prepared to brain dump, I'm going to make sure my things work. Step one, let's do it. We're going to dump the contents of our brain here. So this is fairly self-explanatory. You literally type or write down anything and everything that is in your head that you already have on your to-do list, that you currently have in your head as ideas, but you would like to turn into projects, things that you need to follow up on, dreams or goals for anything like collaborations, vacations, writing a book, literally anything, appointments, doctor's appointments, whatever it is, just write it down. This is, once you do this, you know exactly where you are at. This is kind of the one place that you can refer to. It gives you an overview of everything you need or want to do to keep you moving in the direction of your dreams. And it's sort of a snapshot of literally everything. So it's the perfect starting point for organizing your schedule, your time, and making sure that nothing falls through the cracks. When you don't have this, that's where the overwhelm kind of starts, because you have the big idea, but you don't know all the parts and pieces, and your whole life starts kind of looking frazzled instead of broken down. So tips, I've got some tips for this. No filter, just literally list everything. Avoid any temptation to prioritize, because that is not where you're doing at this step. You're just listing. Don't second guess what should be on there. Sometimes you may think that, say if you're writing a newsletter, for example, that getting in an image that you might need for it, that's a no-brainer. You already know that. It doesn't matter, put it on there, because you'll see how this all comes together in another step. And list overall subjects like newsletter, like a webinar series, like a photo shoot, anything, a trip to Jamaica, I don't know, whatever it is that's popping up for you, list it at this stage. Step 2, break it down. This is the really, really important part. If you can't do this on your own, find somebody to kind of talk it out with. But go back to your big list, and then start listing subtasks or components of that bigger subject, if there is one. Obviously, if you're going to a doctor's appointment, there's nothing you need to list extra there. But here's an example. If you want to have 30-minute weekly calls that you record and put out there for people in your groups or in your newsletter even, you'll want to plan out the topics. If you want to have special offers, you'll want to think about what those are. How are you going to let people know about this? You're going to need to market it. So where are you going to market it? What are you going to have to create to do this? Are you going to have to create some copy? Are you going to have images? What are the other components of that? You're going to email it in your newsletter, so you might need things for that. You might have additional steps under these to break things down. If you want to have a worksheet just on the topic to hand out to people, you'll need to create that. So that's a little example of how you go down through that process. Literally list everything. I know I'm going to probably say that a million times, but that's the key to reducing the overwhelm and knowing what the next steps are. This really, again, makes sure that nothing falls through the cracks, and nothing is too insignificant to list. It really isn't. So then step 3, go ahead, go back through your list and start figuring out what is your top priority, what needs to get done first. This can be, sometimes you're not quite sure. I've had clients who weren't quite sure how to figure out what the top priority was, because sometimes everything seems like a priority. And often it kind of is, and that's why it's good to have another set of eyes on it, because often something actually leads to something else. So if, trying to think of an example real quick, you might find in your list that, okay, and you're going to have a dinner party. So you need to obviously go to the grocery store. Well, you might need to plan your menu first. Then you need to go to the grocery store. So your first priority is planning the menu. Your second priority is going to the grocery store. And then you can start working on the actual creating the dinner. So sort of like that. I hope that makes sense. And this is also something that you can put in like a deadline format. Something that your prioritized items would be something that you need to get done. You have a close deadline for something that sets the stage for other items on your list. Like I said, it's important because you have to have a starting point, and then it usually flows from there. And this is where you start feeling that release from the overwhelm. Once you identify your top priority item, review each of the tasks that are associated with it, and then set a deadline for each of those and write down a due date. Identify what you can possibly delegate to somebody else and what you need to accomplish first. So yes, we are now prioritizing the tasks within the tasks. Oh, what is that thing? So somehow I got a line on there. That was weird. Okay, set the deadline. So you then move on to review each of your items.
Sorry.
Oh.
I thought I could highlight on my end, and sorry.
Oh, okay, no problem. I don't know how this works, to be honest with you. I was like, God, so I took my papers off my computer.
I'm on my phone, so I thought I could. Okay, sorry.
No.
Carry on.
Okay, thank you. Some items, okay, after you review all the items in your list and you start setting the priority structure to those, you will probably identify some things that you can knock out like right away. Some things may be follow-ups, phone calls, emails that need to be sent out. And often my clients actually do this while we're on the phone. So we've set aside that time together where they know that this is a period of time that they can get stuff done in. And that often gets done right away. If it's an easy thing for you to do, just do it. Just knock it off the list. Also, you'll probably see at this point that you have a few items within different tasks that you can actually knock out at the same time. So that's the reason why you list literally everything, because even if you think it's insignificant, it may end up being able to be combined in with something else. And like you may need to know that you have to set up a new email list for an offer and not think that you need to actually write it down in step 2. But then you have another offer coming up down the road that may not be one of your top priorities right now, but while you're in your platform, whatever it is you use for your mailing lists, you can knock out creating both of those lists at one time. So this is where you're really paying attention for opportunities to combine tasks. And you'll, like I said, once you start prioritizing, you'll identify a lot of these, and then you can group them together to get them done. So then you're actually like knocking off more things on your list. So your list may seem overwhelming when you start this process, but you'll see that many of the things that are on there are things that you can really get done quickly or combine with other things. Step 4, schedule it. Choose your method of reminders. So I like to use Google Calendar. Many of my clients use Google Calendar. You can create a separate calendar for different tasks if that helps you. So it doesn't, you can turn them off and on so it doesn't look so crazy and overwhelming, because I know I have access to other people's calendars sometimes and it's like, whoa, that's like crazy. It like overwhelms me looking at that. So that's a great way to do it. I'm also kind of an old school paper planner kind of person. So I have a big paper calendar that I like to write things down on, and it's a good way for me to just get a quick glance at something that needs to get done. So I kind of use both, but I do use my Google Calendar more just because I get the pop-up reminders. So once you've gone through your list and you set the dates on there, allow a cushion, because you don't want to stress yourself out by scheduling stuff too close to the final time of the deadline that you have to get something done, because life happens. Life inevitably happens. So there's usually something that'll come up that might throw you off track a little bit, and you do not want to schedule your time too close. So make sure you've got your final day, but set your deadline in advance of that, and all your tasks that go with that one project accordingly, kind of working backwards from that point. Let's see, where am I at? So set your dates. Set dates. Okay, if you're good at managing your time on a daily schedule, or you kind of have a freedom of your day and it's not really tight, you could probably just set your reminders at the beginning of the day, and so that they just kind of pop up in a block. But if you've got a pretty tight calendar, actually schedule that task for a specific time on a specific day. That way it pops up and reminds you, I've got to do laundry right now, for example. Like, not later, but right now. That way you stay on track, because what you're doing, you're not putting the big projects down for these, you're putting all the little subtasks of those projects. And when you get them done, that's how your momentum gets going, which is really important. I don't know why that's popping up, which is critical. That's the whole point of this system, is to get traction and gain momentum and getting stuff done and stop being stuck. If you are unable to complete a task, make sure you go back and reschedule it. Also, if you have people that help you get stuff done, like a VA, a graphic designer, web designer, business manager, any other kind of team members, and you've probably identified in the other step, I think it was step 2, that there are things you can delegate, you may want to use a platform like Asana, or the ones that I've been seeing lately on TV with the cute little animals all collaborating. Slack may be an option for you. That way you've got shared notes, shared deadlines, shared documents, and you can follow up and remain in contact constantly on projects. So those are really, really useful platforms. If you haven't used them yet, I suggest you check them out if you've got a team. If you don't have a team, then you don't have to worry about it. Step 5, take action. This is a no-brainer, right? You've done all the steps previous and you're ready to roll. You have to take action. If you don't take action, this whole thing is just going to sit there out in wherever, the internet, and never get done, then it's useless. This is a hugely, this is like an amazing system to use, to come back to. So use it. You're organized. This is a key organization method to keep you on track. And it literally does reduce overwhelm, because you can see it and you can actually get a bigger picture of all your projects being accomplished. So take action. This is where you wear 2 hats. You've got your boss hat and you've got your employee hat. So you need to be the boss and hold yourself accountable for taking action steps that you have scheduled in order to get stuff done. Then you need to be the employee that follows the schedule you set for yourself each day. And you have to answer to the boss if you don't check stuff off the list on time. So you may have thought if you got out of corporate that you're out of the boss world or somebody micromanaging you, but you need to now take control of both of those roles and micromanage yourself if you really want to gain momentum and get things accomplished. This is tricky, for myself included, because like I mentioned before, life does happen. You get sick, kids get sick, you get that call from school that you've got to come pick up your kid because they're not feeling well. Stuff does pop up to try to throw you off track, but if you maintain this schedule and this organization and you get in the habit of doing this, you'll know that you can just jump right back in and pick up where you left off. It's your job to be the boss and make sure the employee knows that if life throws you a curveball, you need to accommodate for it and possibly reschedule stuff. Don't skip it. reschedule it. It's very, very important, because once that reminder pops up and if you don't do it, you forget about it. I'm guilty of this. I've done it. And you have to like go back through your calendar to find out what you didn't do. Just reschedule it right away. And that is why I encourage you to set the cushion for deadlines. This will really help you avoid overwhelm. If you get tasks done ahead of schedule, which is awesome, then yay you. Give yourself a big pat on the back. And you can get a head start on the next activity, or you can give yourself a treat for a job well done. Like, I like to have a beer, so that's my treat sometimes. Speaking of treats, if the reward system is something that works for you, by all means, use it. If you reward yourself with something that you love, if a job gets done by or before the deadline, that is an awesome motivator for you. I've got friends that do this. They set themselves like, I'm going to get a massage when I complete this project. I mean, some sort of motivation that gets you going. If that works for you, it doesn't work for everybody. Be aware of self-sabotage. Don't fall victim to this. We all have ups and downs, every single one of us. And if you're honest with that, and you are honest with yourself that some days are great and you have massive momentum those days, and some days are not, then you're going to feel much better on those days where you're not so motivated, because you know that it's temporary. Everything's always temporary, and you'll be able to pick right back up on your momentum because you've literally laid everything out. There's no way that anything can fall through the cracks with this. Make sure that if you do fall into that sort of self-sabotage mode, that you just, and you're feeling like you're not getting things done, just, really ask yourself if you have done everything you can do to stay on track, because you'll probably find that you haven't. And being aware of that is really key to changing it. Awareness is the key to change. I say that pretty frequently. When you're aware of your thoughts, your actions, your reactions, then you can shift them much quicker when you're aware of them. And you're proactive instead of reactive. So keep that in mind. And accountability. That's a huge factor in making this work. If you don't think that you're very good at holding yourself accountable, find a partner. It doesn't need to be me, although I would love to. It doesn't need to be a coach at all. If you find somebody who wants to do this with you, you can hold each other accountable and have a weekly or maybe twice a week check-in to make sure that you're both staying on track and that you're moving forward, and you can address any issues that come up, should they come up, as to why you are not staying to your schedule. Accountability, I've found personally, is immensely important. I wouldn't be at the point that I'm at now, and I wouldn't have plans for what I plan to do in the future if I didn't have people around me that would hold me accountable for it, or people that I could talk to about my plans that can help me brainstorm how to do things. So find an accountability partner. Momentum strategist, that's me. So sometimes you may see in my posts that I'm doing a hashtag momentum strategist, because what I do really does help you gain momentum. And when I work with my clients, we brainstorm, we lay things out, and having someone to bounce ideas off of is usually what gains a lot of clarity and next steps and momentum to keep things going. I'm not going to say you need a coach all the time. You shouldn't need a coach all the time. If you have a great coach, they should give you lots of tools and kind of help you get in a habit of doing what they're teaching. And then you can take off and do it on your own. And then maybe you only need someone to help you every now and then if you have a big project or you're just feeling really stuck. So when I work with my clients, it's very individual. So this process that I laid out for you is pretty general. Anybody can do it if you sit down and put your mind to it, and if you take action and actually do it. But when I work with my clients, it's very individual to them. So we lay out whatever their projects are, whatever their goals are, whatever their dreams are, but we really work through this process either way. So often what happens is even more ideas, more projects come up, and then it's just so much clearer on next steps to move forward. Critical, I say this a lot, don't forget about yourself. I'm a huge fan, and I preach this all the time, of taking care of yourself. So I don't want you to think that this scheduling and this strategy of gaining momentum is independent and you just have to, like, balls to the wall, basically do this, like go, go, go. No, absolutely not. You have to take care of yourself first, because if you don't, then you're not good for anybody else. And what's really the point in that, right? So if you can't find the time for self-care in your schedule, or this is something that really keeps holding, you keep putting it off, you're taking care of everybody else, you're taking care of clients, you're taking care of family, then schedule it. Schedule in something that's self-care. Most of you probably know that reading is my big self-care item. So self-care doesn't need to be going to the day spa and spending an entire day lounging around. It doesn't. Self-care can be going for a walk. It can be doing yoga. It can be just sitting outside and doing a few breathing exercises to ground yourself and release some stress. Like I said, reading. The reason why I have the picture of me in the hammock is because I spend every weekend, at least, with some time in my hammock reading, because that is one of my favorite places. But I read before bed every night. So whatever your favorite self-care thing is, schedule that, remind yourself, set a reminder if you need to, but it's absolutely critical, and I cannot stress it enough. So we've covered this pretty quickly, and I have no idea what time it is because I can't see that on the screen share, so I hope that I'm on track. This system will release you from overwhelm. It gives you a clear roadmap of next steps. It's something that you can repeat. You can use this over and over and over again. Hopefully, you'll feel that now that you've seen this, you'll gain some confidence in using this system to gain momentum in your own life and business, and have some relief knowing that there is a strategy out there that can work and does work for you. Ta-da! Said I've had a special offer. 90-minute brain dump strategy session. You and me, one-on-one, take an hour and a half, and we will literally go through this process together. Sometimes you just need someone to knock this out with. And so I'm offering this for the next 48 hours for people who are watching this webinar. And excuse me, if you go to CherriseBoucher.com/webinar offer, there's a link there with a PayPal link and a scheduling link. I hope you will take advantage of this, because even if you don't work with me beyond this hour and a half, you will have a clearly laid out outline with next steps, action steps, doable ones, that you can set on your calendar and move forward with. And then you could kind of rinse and repeat going forward. So I hope that you feel that, spending less than $150 is well worth your sanity, and you would like to spend a little bit more time with me to do this, because I would love to. I love doing this. I really do. Like, I get excited because so much clarity happens in these calls, and momentum and strategy and new ideas and everything come into play that I get excited. So I hope you'll take advantage of that offer with me. And here's just a couple little love notes from friends and clients. And I'm going to stop sharing this screen so that I can see you all and see what's up and see if anybody has any questions. I keep muting myself. I should have that so it doesn't work. Amy loves rewards. I know she does. That's really why I mentioned that. Thank you, B. Does anybody have any questions? You can unmute yourself, Angelique. I see that you raised your hand. Did you? Where is she? Angelique. Angelique, can you hear me? Do you have any questions?
Wait. Oh, wait. I'm here somewhere. Can you hear me?
I hear you. I can hear you.
Nope, I didn't have any questions. Actually, I was trying to get this thing to work. I have you on my phone and I have you on my computer screen in my office.
Okay.
I wasn't sure which one was going to work.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have something like really pressing that we need to discuss.
No.
So thank you for being here, though, because it's so nice to see you.
I do want to make a comment about accountability.
Mm-hmm.
I have issues sometimes with accountability, and I think it's just part of my resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter whether or not I have accountability. It's either I'm going to do it or I'm not.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have to get to a point. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you have to get in a place where you mean business, and you really want to move in a certain direction no matter what. And sometimes, I mean, I've had resistance to things before too, where it just literally, like, I just was not, like, I created a 6-week program that I've never done anything with, because I just had resistance to it for some reason. At some point I'll get back to it and I'll edit it to make it more relevant to exactly what I'm doing now. But sometimes we're in like sort of a shifting mode and we're not quite clear what our voice is exactly. And I think that's sometimes where resistance comes in. But sometimes you just get all of a sudden this kind of aha moment and you're like, oh shit, well, that's what I need to be doing, so.
Right, I get a lot of those.
Yeah, and James is asking, how do you get shit done as far as being stuck in a certain mindset? And that kind of goes along with this. It helps to talk to somebody who kind of gets where you're coming from and can hold the vision for you of where you want to be. I also, with like my life coaching clients, I do a 6-month vision statement, which really helps get like that feeling and the energy up and the opens the door for opportunities. So James, I would say that I don't know if you tried talking to somebody in this way, but we could certainly chat. I mean, we live local. So I hate to see people stuck. I hate it because I've been stuck and it sucks. And what sucks even more is when everybody sees the potential and the possibility within you and you don't know why you can't see it. And that's not a good place to be, because you need to kind of get out of that funk and move forward. And that's what's great about having kind of support around people who get what you're doing. Like sometimes close family members aren't always that person. Sometimes even close friends are not that person because they don't really get where you are or exactly what your goals are or what vision you have for yourself. So it's important to find people that are kind of on the same track as you, because they often can be that little light and that little push that you need, or give you that brilliant idea that just gives you that aha moment. anybody else have anything? I don't want to take up. Oh, look at that. I've done well. It's 11:44. Yes, and Angelique and I have talked about that, and it is tough. Am I missing anything? Just want to make sure I've got everybody. If nobody has any questions, I'm also going to be emailing you. I created a new opt-in for my new website, which isn't up yet. So I created a planner, kind of outlines some of this, gives you a place to think about and scribble down your goals and plans for a month, and then break it down a little bit for a week. And it gives you a little calendar to scribble stuff on. And I'm going to send that out to you because you're on the email list that gave you the information to log into this today. And I thank you guys so much for doing that and for being here and sharing this time with me, because it really means a lot to me. And I hope I didn't sound like I was blubbering too much. Because literally, like in the Inspire View series where I interview people, and I've been doing this for the interview series for over a year, and I'm totally cool with that. But doing things one-on-one, just like this, is like totally new to me. So I appreciate you being here and sharing this time with me. And yes, so the planner will go out in an email along with a link to the recording of this video as well, since I actually did hit record. Thank God. If nobody has any other questions or comments or anything they'd like to say, then I will let you go off to your day. I hope you took some great notes. Keep in mind that offer is available for 48 hours. I hope I get to talk to some of you. If any of you have any questions and you just want to chat with me about it, you can message me on Facebook or send me an email at cheriseboucher.com, and I'm more than happy to talk to you. Have a wonderful day, everybody.